Hey, Ben, look what I found out in the parking lot.
My brothers.
Oh, I got a lead block down this hall.
Oh, you did? So when you get them back?
It is time for another Haymaker Presents, and today Ben Rogers and I sit down with Tyrone Crawford. We love the dude, one of our favorite Cowboys to cover, and as you're going to be able to tell, he's a good friend too. Awesome guy. He's got some thoughts on what's happening with the Cowboys right now, and then we talk about how hard it is for people to retire. You should stick around. I'm going to drink water out of a coffee mug for no good reason. Isn't it nice to have an old friend in the living room?
Amazing.
It's amazing. Look at him. Look at Tyrone Crawford.
My boys.
Sitting right there. Welcome to our humble abode, Haymaker Presents.
Yeah, humble the boat, I bet. This thing is beautiful. You guys got something going on here. I love it.
I always like to tell Tyrone this. If you feel like you're going to get picked on here and you get nervous, we got your back. No one's going to bully you here.
You know, and I always feel super safe with y'all. I know Skin's going to rock everybody.
Yeah, let's go.
The Haymaker will come out.
The Haymaker will come out.
So, dude, he'll make fun of me for saying this, I promise you, but you look like you could still play. Do you ever wake up and go, yeah, I absolutely could play today. I could play one more game. Do you still feel that at all?
I try and work out harder and harder every day, so I always wake up sore, so I don't ever get that feeling. You know,
I was going to ask you, I'm assuming during a season, especially the older you get, you hurt when you wake up, right?
Yeah, like I mean, shoot, man. I can remember telling my wife year 7, I was like, you know, I can't figure out how I'm going to recover by Sunday. Like, you know, we play Sunday and then I get to Saturday and I'm like, I'm still feeling like this. This is ridiculous. So, you know, year 7, you know, me and Trav always used to joke about it. But like as we got older, it was just like, hey man, like, unfortunately, I don't even know if I should say this, but like, you know, the Toradol and all that stuff was just kind of just part of our lives, man.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
You Ben will probably remember this. You know, when we worked at ESPN, we worked with Nate Newton.
Yeah.
And he said, every snap when you're on the line, every snap is like a little mini car crash. It's like a fender bender, every single snap with the collision. He's like, so imagine adding all those fender benders up over all that time.
Yeah, especially for the D-line, O-line, you know. I mean, I think they gave us some kind of report, like when I was leaving like my last year, they gave some kind of report of how many like hits to the head and hits we've taken. And like the D linemen were obviously like astronomically larger than, but I mean, it was insane numbers because of practice, games, you know, all that goes into account. And so, I mean, it was a lot of hits. And you think about that, it's like just the game is like, you know, a car wreck, but then you don't think about Wednesday practice, especially when it's like Rod Marinelli and he's like, all right, we got pod drills today. You know what I mean? So you gotta go up against Travis and Zach or Ron Leary and, you know, like all these guys, like Tyron Smith, he didn't care. He's smacking you in the head. He say sorry, but hey, he doesn't really mean it. But yeah, so, yeah, I definitely agree with Big Nate. But it was fun. You know, it was only, 9 years of it.
Right.
That was good.
Well, you're one of our all-time favorite athletes, and you've become a friend over the years. But the thing that I admire about you the most is the way your teammates always spoke of you. You didn't have to go say, I'm a leader. You didn't have to say, hey, I'm one of the best players. Like, your teammates were saying that for you loudly. Like, they believed in you very much. Like, Romo, remember that?
Yeah,
we were
at training camp.
We were at training camp in Oxnard, and we're talking to Romo, and we're like, who's somebody that, like, we need to keep our eye on? And he was like, Tyrone Crawford. Like, he was loud about it, too. Like,
it really opened my eyes. I mean, I knew you were a good player, but I was like, man, that's the first name out of Romo's mouth. Damn.
Yeah. What did that mean to you to have the love and respect to your teammates like that? Because this is not new news to you.
No. I mean, yeah, like, dude, that's the thing. Like, the communication between me and my teammates was always like, so, like, I pretty much talked to everybody in the locker room. I don't know if there was a person I didn't talk to, you know, and I didn't, you know, I tried never to, you know, stay in groups. You know, it wasn't like a D-line thing for me, even though, you know, D-line wasn't my core group, but, and it wasn't like a defensive thing. You know, I always went to the offensive side of the ball and just try to talk to everybody. Also, you know, I'm Canadian, so, I mean, that's just what we do. That's what we do. But I don't know, man. It was just, was a blessing to be viewed by my teammates like that. You know, you don't ever, like, while you're in it, you don't ever think about, you know, that view or them having that view. But, you know, as you get out and you talk to guys and you talk to different teammates and, you know, just, you know, the respect you share for each other, and it shows, and just some of the things you hear. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, makes you proud of yourself, and not just of the player you were, but, you know, of, the guy you were in the locker room. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, it always gives me a sense of pride that I was what my mom raised me to be. You know what I mean?
Why are Canadians such good people? What is the deal with that?
You know, I mean, we ain't got much time outside, you know. So when we're outside, it's like, hey, let's just be nice to each other. Let's love each other.
Who are your 3 favorite Canadians that are not in your family?
Well, like, not even like friends and family. Like,
Can't be friends and family.
Okay,
No
so
friends.
no friends and family.
But you might be friends with some big celebrity, so I don't want to rule them out. But like, in terms of famous people from Canada.
So no friends and family, but like, you know, the OVO crew, Drake at the head of that. You know, and then we got Justin Bieber. He's a beast. Justin Bieber's a beast. And then my third favorite Canadian, Jim Carrey.
Hey, that's good.
Okay, good.
Truman Show was on the other night. I hadn't seen it in forever.
Dude, and honestly, you know, I've kind of turned into a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. So like, let's do some Jim.
Okay, let's hear about this.
Yeah. So listening to some Jim Carrey, it always, like, it intrigues me because, you know, that's kind of where he's not I don't know what he is, but like he's like in a stage where he likes to talk about, you know, some of those things, and honestly, some of his takes are super interesting. So I enjoy it.
He's a pretty cerebral guy.
Yeah.
And I like that this turned into a Jim Carrey podcast.
Yeah.
I had no idea that this was going to happen. But that's what happens when you start asking Canadians about Canadians.
This is like
Yeah. Did you notice that he hates Steve Nash? He
It's
did not make the
incredible. I
top
thought
3.
Nash was such a good guy.
hates. I don't hate anybody over there, no.
That's right.
But no, Steve Nash, man. Yes, forgot all about Steve Nash. What a great. Gretzky, great. You know, there's a lot of greats.
Yeah.
And we can go down a huge list. Like, I'm talking,
Yeah.
you know, a Santa Claus list. But no, we're I mean, I love the country, love the people. You know, we can always do better, like everywhere can. But yeah, it's a great country.
I feel like Texas is kind of a less cold Canada. You know, like the people. Like
the people. Yeah.
there's
Like
something-
politically, no.
No. No.
Yeah.
But just, you know, the idea of connecting with your neighbor and being
Yes.
friendly.
Yes. That's why, like, you know, like, one, my wife's from Texas. But, you know, two, I was super comfortable with staying here. It's just because, you know, like, I've been different places in the United States, and obviously Idaho's got great people, you know, and, you know, California's got good people where I was, in Bakersfield at least, but, you know, nothing beats Texas, man. Just, I mean, they got the Southern hospitality and just, and I mean, just the kindness, and, you know, a lot of people that, you know, follow Christ, and just everything around here is just, you know, it kind of fits in with me, and I love it, man. I'm not going anywhere.
So there's a lot of things we want to talk to you about today. Obviously, some of the more controversial things while you're playing during your career in Dallas, you lived through the catch. We'll get into that. The Romo, Dak transfer of quarterbacking. You know, there's a lot we can get into, but I want to talk about this year's Dallas Cowboys in this way. They were set up before the start of the season where their best player, Micah Parsons, was an edge rusher. They traded him right before the season started, at the eve of the start of the season, and then later ended up getting Quinnen Williams. So now their best defensive player is an interior player. You're super unique in that you played inside, you played outside, you could do it all. And so, first of all, I'd just love to get your thoughts on how shocked were you by that trade, and then beyond that, just your thoughts on building around the interior as opposed to building around the edge.
You know, I was shocked when the trades talk started happening, but then, you know, obviously me, and just ending up, you know, at the Cowboys Club and just talking to different people, and, you know, mixing and mingling with my people. You know, I still talk with everybody at the Cowboys staff and all. I wasn't as surprised when it actually happened. I kind of was ready for it to happen. And to be able to, you know, but on the D line, there's one thing that has to happen. You either need to get a great interior push, and set the edges, make sure that keep the quarterback in that box, and we get a great interior rush, or the rushers have to, the edge rushers have to get home, and the interior has to get a push. He has to get the quarterback uncomfortable, and right now we do have some good exterior, like we got some good ends, so that's great to have, along with Osa and the big dog in there, rushing interior. So right now, obviously the better rush is inside, and I was extremely excited to see Quinn come to Dallas because I knew the power of Osa, and I love Osa too. I'm a huge fan of Osa, so I wanted that to open up the door for Osa to get more one-on-ones, because like when the big dog's in there, they're gonna they're changing that slide immediately. And usually, you're supposed to follow the rule, but then there's the Travis Fredericks that, I'm just going to pick, boom, go this way. But so, yeah, I mean, dude, I was excited. And I think I think everybody was a little scared and nervous, for Jerry's decisions. But Jerry and Steven and Will McClay, those guys made great moves. And they did it very strategically. They played chess, and with the whole NFL there. And I still think, what's the status? Like, I know we lost to the Lions, but what's the status? Like, how do we still
We got an outside chance because Philly lost that terrible game last night to the Chargers, right? So, I mean, realistically, the Cowboys need to win out, and then on top of that, which I want to ask you about winning out, but then on top of that, they have to lose to the Bills, and they probably need to split with the Commanders, who have been really struggling this year, right? So I want to let's go there. I know that the cliche is you got to take one game at a time, and especially in football, you have to, because I mean, hell, every snap is a battle, right? But when you're in the room, and I'm assuming you guys watch the standings, you have to know where you are. To sit there and know that you got 4 games left and you have to win out pretty much, what does that do to a locker room or even a position group?
If guys didn't know, I think guys know. You're right. Like guys know, even like before we land in the meetings the next morning, guys know that, hey, we're in a bad spot. Like hopefully we got a shot. We got to win out and we can get it. And then, to get the confirmation, it's like, hey, we still got this shot. Garrett comes in, hey, we still got this shot. We got to win out. Like, strap it up. Let's get it going. And then it's kind of like the call to battle. And it's like, all right, well, you look next to you and you're like, hey, we got to get it done. If we lose, where does your hope go there? And if we lose, we're pretty much playing for no reason. You know what I'm saying? And that's the worst for an NFL player, to be playing for no reason, get out there and that you're not going to be, you don't have a shot at the ship, so it's like you give everything you got at that moment. I mean, it's balls to the wall. You got to get it. So we're pretty much I think it glues the unit together at that point.
I want to take a step back just for a second. I want to go back to the Micah thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Because you said I wasn't surprised. Now, after kind of getting a lay of the land and visiting with people and whatnot, and I'm not trying to get you to say anything negative about anybody, but I'm just saying that might be surprising to some people, considering he's revered as being one of the best players in the game, dominant edge rusher. He's already yours. He's in your locker room. So I'm just trying to understand a little bit, like, how do you got to the point where you weren't really surprised?
I wasn't really surprised, at that moment, because, I see where he didn't fit, and that was through, different opinions, different opinions that were brought to me, and then me kind of doing my own research on that end, right? And like, for instance, just kind of like, with the Cowboys, and especially the last couple of years, our big thing has been, we gotta stop the run. You know what I mean? And Micah is one of the best pass rushers in the game, but when it comes to the run, that's where he kind of like that. He has a little bit of, some weaknesses in his game when it comes to the run. And I'm not trying to bash my guy. He's my guy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like that's one thing that they were, that was a harp. And then, along with some other things like outside of football, things that just didn't match the way that they wanted everything to shape up, in that locker room. So it was at that point where I can tell, like, hey, like, they're going to make a strong push at getting someone really good or something really good for this guy, because, obviously another team has got to bring, put all in for Micah. And, I feel like Green Bay did that, and we also got, a great talent out of Green Bay as well. So, and I've loved watching him as well. So, listen, and then best player on that team for me has always been Dak, right? You know what I mean? So that that guy's just a dime thrower. He throws dimes, and he's a hell of a leader. I mean, just kind of like what people are seeing with the Pickens situation, like everybody's talking about out of he was a troubled guy, Pittsburgh. I knew for a fact, I knew 100%, you can't be around Dak and be a troubled guy. You just can't. This guy the energy doesn't allow it. The man he is doesn't allow it as he walks in the room, and what, the standard he kind of demands without even saying it. It just wasn't going to happen. So I knew the story of Pickens was going to be different in Dallas for sure.
When Pickens got here, I don't watch every Pittsburgh game. In fact, I hardly watch Pittsburgh play. I just read stuff, right? See clips, and then you read stuff. So I'm, all right, we'll see if this guy works out. And then he gets here, and you're like, God, this guy can do so much. So you get a guy like Pickens here. You already have CeeDee Lamb. How would you compare and contrast CeeDee Lamb versus Pickens? Like, they're going to try to keep both.
Yeah.
But if you had to keep one of those guys, would you keep CeeDee Lamb over Pickens? Pickens is so dynamic.
You're asking me biased. I played with CD, and like I got to watch CD make catches that you're not supposed to make. Like when we were in I think it was COVID year, we were in Minnesota, and he made this catch. I don't even know. Everybody was just kind of like, how did he make this catch? He felt like he twisted his body and caught it over his head and caught the ball, which he wasn't supposed to. I was like, this guy's talented. He's going to be one of the greats, right? And so for me, I think Pickens is kind of, stealing a little bit of the shine this year, but let's not forget who CD is and what he can do and the talents he's got. This guy is, I mean, I personally, I don't know. I can't say that just because, I haven't been in the locker room, but just through bias, I would keep CD.
Yeah.
So everybody was talking about George Pickens against Detroit, and they were talking about his effort, and they were saying, hey, it's hard. Doesn't look like he's trying his hardest, but that it's hard. I'm just curious to get your thoughts when somebody's watching TV. Is that incredibly unfair to just go, hey, well, I'm watching TV. It doesn't look like that guy's trying his hardest on every play. When you hear something like that, are you just like, good Lord, man?
Oh, man, you don't even understand the battles I go through in my own. I let it sit and simmer because I don't want to just burst out on people. But like some of the things that people say and just being, like not having to know, like haven't even been around it, haven't even been in the locker room, around these guys and stuff like that. It's like a lot of these guys, like you would be crazy to say that they're being lazy this play or something like that. Like that's just not in their heart. You know what I mean? Like that's like saying like you would be lazy in the midst of battle. Like it's not in their heart. Like it's like there's another man trying to get them at this point. But you don't let it happen. You know what I mean? For me personally, like if people ever said I was taking a play off, I was doing something strategic. Like it wasn't no taking the play off. Maybe it's, I don't know, whatever it is, a coffee house. You know what I mean? But it was never taking a play off because I was at battle the whole game. You can't stop. You cannot stop. You got to go. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, when people say that, yeah, it's a little annoying, but there's a lot of things that are said like that just kind of creep up and just like, what are you talking about?
I feel like if you take a playoff in football, you might get killed.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Like DeMarcus used to tell himself before the game, we'd do the anthem, and then I would sit there and listen to him talk to himself because he's nuts. But
Talking to himself?
yeah, he'd talk to himself, and he'd be like, "Damn, they're trying to take my food, man. They're trying to take my family." He's like, "This for my kids, man. They're trying to take food out of my kids' mouth, man. Trying to kill me. They're trying to kill me." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, they are." I mean, like, that's what we're trying to do. Like, I mean, not trying to kill them, but like, I'm trying to like hurt you. Like, I'm trying to like, I have to put like in my mind that I'm trying to kill you. But like, obviously, we got equipment on. Like, that's going to be hard to do. But like, you got to think about it. As soon as you talk shit to one O lineman, they bounce that off of every O lineman. So they really are trying to get you. So you really got to handle your own. You got to handle it, especially with the D-line. If you tell the D-line, hey, they're trying to get me, they're like, all right, we'll handle that. Like, that's going to make it easier for us. But yeah, on the O-line, they literally team up and like they will have their eye on you the whole game. So you got to, try and get yours as well, right? So, I mean, like a lot of the battles were, we're trying to get the quarterback, but a lot of the time too is, you're trying to get that man right across from you, and if you get the best of him, then you won the game in your internally.
That's the thing that's always been so amazing to me about football, more than any other sport, is in football, one guy, you got 11 guys out there, and they're all supposed to be tied together with this idea of what they're trying to accomplish on that play. Different guys are doing different things. One guy can blow an assignment and the whole thing blows up. And so when you have a team that consistently doesn't have penalties, doesn't have blown assignments consistently, and moves it, that blows my mind to be able to get that many people working in unison on every play. It's just astonishing to me.
Me too, honestly. That's why I love the game, because like, coaches, like, that's why I still am very excited for Eberflus. I know it's his first year, but like, I was coached by Eberflus, right? So I know the standard he holds, and just like Marinelli, I knew the standard he holds and like how he demands it, in a room, and everybody's got to do their job. Our thing that year was the star of the defense is the defense, right? So there's no star on the defense. Like, everybody just do your job, get your job done and we win. Guarantee you. And every time we did it and we did it right, even if it wasn't glamorous, even if it wasn't like, oh, we got a whole bunch of sacks, if we did our job individually on defense, we beat that offense. You know what I mean? And if you beat the offense and our offense scores 3 points, or our offense is scoring points, we win, right? So, I mean, a lot of the times we slipped up, you know what I mean? There were slip-ups, but like, when that happened, like, you knew it, and you knew the next day film was not going to be pretty, you know what I mean? So it was like, and that was another thing with Demarcus, he would be the slip-up guy every once in a while, and he would be like, damn it, man, like, I got 2 sacks, but I slipped up, they scored a touchdown, you know what I mean? So it's like, and that's where, that's why I love D, is because, he's still so humble that he'll take accountability, for that and never mess that up again, right? And the guy just, it has a motor. I mean, obviously we're seeing what he's doing, but like, like he doesn't stop. Like, he doesn't stop on the field. Like, if he messes up, he'll probably end up making that play. You know what I mean? But he messed up at the beginning, but he's going to hustle so hard that he's going to make something crazy happen after that.
So he's in Seattle. He's got like 5 or 6 sacks. I think he'd be leading the Cowboys in sacks if I'm not mistaken, but he had 2 defensive touchdowns in one game, playing out of his mind in Seattle. I was reading an article saying that it might be Seattle's best free agent signing ever. At least that was this writer's point. So did the Cowboys make a mistake by letting him get away?
Did they make a mistake? One of the biggest. Honestly, I when he was going through the process and he's like, man, the Cowboys ain't even speaking a word to me. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're not speaking a word to you. So me, I'm calling up like, what are we doing?
calling the front office?
Yeah, I'm like, what are we doing? We're not talking to Demarcus, and like, everybody thought it was time, like, again, like, that's kind of like the thing in football is like, if there's a time, and obviously, when it comes to players, sometimes it is just best to move on, to get that re-spark. And, I think that's something that D did. He got a re-spark, and, he got excited to, attack it. The way I seen this guy work out this year, it was different. He was also mad. He had a chip on his shoulder and he was pissed off. But, it was just different. But yes, I knew, like, no matter what, you got a good football player in Demarcus. You know what I mean? So, and they were letting that go. But again, it's also hard to, afford a football player like Demarcus. So I guess I wouldn't say they made a mistake because he was expensive. So it's like, and really expensive, you know what I mean? So it was like, hey, you got to kind of make a decision, and it was probably best for both of them, but I still do wish they would have kept Demarcus. That would have been great for us.
It's so interesting to hear you talk about that, because I always wonder, it's obviously you don't get involved in another man's money, right, in the locker room, but at the same time, there is a salary cap.
Right.
And so how do players balance the idea of what the front office is doing versus I'm going to lose my dude? Because even if you're not acutely aware of how the salary cap works, you see numbers and you understand it's finite. I mean, that's kind of part of why I was asking you about CD and Pickens. We have this conversation. Boy, I'd love to keep Pickens. I don't know. Can you pay 2 receivers that much when you pay Dak that much? And that was part of the deal with Micah, right? Like Micah was going to command a lot of money. And so how does an individual feel about the money of his teammates and the salary cap and how all of that works?
Yeah, I mean, guys obviously probably have different feelings. A lot of people are just kind of like, hey, happy you're getting yours, you know what I mean? And let them figure it out. That's not our job. Let them figure it out. And however the cards play, they play. And I guess that's kind of like what it is as far as players in the locker room. But once you get up to levels like, where Dak's at, he's going to be brought in the room, and they're going to talk through numbers with Dak. Like, hey, we got to keep this guy, but this is the issue. Can't pay him this much, blah, blah, blah. And they're going to talk through all that with Dak, and he has to be the quarterback of the Cowboys, plus up there dealing with front office stuff, which unfortunately that comes with it. That comes with probably every quarterback in the NFL, but that's not something I would want to deal with. Not at all.
So, and let's go back. I think it was 2016 was Dak's first year, right?
Yeah.
So Romo's playing in the preseason. He gets hurt. Romo is your guy as well. He's a guy who's gone to bat for you, talking about what a great player you are, saying you're one of the best players on the football team. He gets hurt. This rookie comes in, does really well, gets
round pick,
gets hot. And there you are in another situation while you're playing with 2 guys that you love very much that are in totally different, Romo wants his job back, but at the same time, Dak's taking advantage of this opportunity. So what was that like?
It was awkward and interesting to be a part of, to see both the way they both handled it, was, pretty amazing. Obviously, Dak came in with his best friend, and they went crazy.
Rookies doing rookie stuff.
Yes, and it was fun. We had a blast. So, it was hard. And again, like when a guy gets injured, they're kind of in and out of the building, and so I'm sure at that time, Tony was feeling a little bit, left out. But again, it's the nature of the league, and unfortunately, when it's with the Cowboys, it's just on like a huge stage. But it was definitely, from my perspective, a little awkward because yes, I did. I loved them both. You know what I'm saying? And Tony, I knew for longer at that time, but Dak was also the kid that came in every day with a smile on his face, and brought the same energy he's bringing right now. You know what I mean? So he led the team like he was leading right now. He stepped right into it and did well at it. So, it was tough, but again, that was just a situation I didn't want to involve myself in, so I stuck to, hey, I got to run a pirate, I got to I got to go upfield and just try to do my job well. So, yeah, I mean, the way it worked out was God's plan, and I knew Tony was going to do good whatever he did. I literally knew Tony was going to either go into podcasting or golf or exactly what he's in now. You know what I mean? And he's doing great. He's making great money. His family's happy, and he's happy as a man. So, I'm happy for them. And, I'm just, again, the plan was well.
Was there pressure on the guys that were closest to Romo to you think he wanted them to get in there, go to Garrett and say, hey, man?
I think so.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sitting here thinking about Witten and what he must have been going through.
I'm just sitting here going, if my radio station wants to bench me, I'm gonna be pissed if Skin didn't go in there going, dude, you can't. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, I think there was pressure, and I think it actually like happened. I think, guys went in there and tried to go to bat for him. But again, it's got to be a hard decision for the front office as well, right? Like, a guy that's did this for you and a guy that's hot. You know what I mean? He's doing his thing right now. But yeah, I know guys like Witten and then Dez. Like Dez had a ball from Tony that really it was hard to throw Dez a ball because you always had to. From my perspective, you always had to throw ball or Dez the challenging ball, right? Like make him like shit on somebody essentially. You know what I mean? So and Tony did that well. Like he would like if he was throwing a jump ball to Dez, he would make it so like Dez can like tap the guy's helmet with the ball or or something. So Dez was balling in the Tony times, and he's a baller period. But during those times, I'm sure Dez, went to bat, for that reason as well, right? I mean, he was doing good with Dak too, but, yeah.
There's an interesting thing too with Garrett being the coach because Garrett's a career backup. And so his career was based on accepting someone else being ahead of him. Like that's a different mentality. Everyone, is in the Mavericks traded Luka Doncic and Jason Kidd was the coach. And there's a lot of thought about, well, what is Jason Kidd's involvement here? Jason Kidd is one of the 75 greatest players ever. He got traded multiple times. I'm sure he looks at a trade as like, well, it's not the end of the world. You will get over it. I'm speaking, I'm projecting what Jason, but what I'm saying is the guys who are in charge, they have their own perspective on how the game is played. Jason Garrett was in that room probably thinking, well, Tony needs to accept what's going on right now. And the interesting thing about all that is Tony made the decision essentially to cut bait. Tony was the one who cut bait. He wrote that note and gave it to Jason Garrett. It's like these are incredibly talented humans that are competitive, that are in a stressful situation that's happening in real time with the whole world watching. All that stuff is just so amazing to me.
Yeah, and it's crazy, because talking to you guys is always the best because you guys know us, you guys know the guys, the coaches, you know us all individually, and but also like you have like very good, perspectives of how how all that, like what you just said. I mean, it's a tough situation. I know the fan is looking at it like, man, like this is a crazy situation, but like we're all looking at it like you got to handle it as it comes. Like you got to play the cards you're dealt, and like that's just kind of how. And like coming from the the Jason Garrett thing and like the Jason Kidd, that stuff's real. Like I mean, you gotta play the cards you're dealt in that situation. And I love it that you guys kind of share the same vision as us. So it's dope.
So the biggest play, you mentioned Dez, you mentioned those balls that just get thrown up there and he figures out a way to catch it. Biggest play probably from your tenure with the Cowboys was 4th and 1 in Green Bay.
Yep.
Ball gets thrown up. I mean, 4th and 1, right?
Yep.
Ball gets thrown up. I mean, Romo put him on the table. It was like iron.
What a ballsy decision to make that pass.
Decision, like, and he goes up and he catches that ball. And because the rule is some bullshit, it's not a catch. But walk us through the emotions and what you're thinking as all that's happening.
What I'm thinking. As it shouldn't even came down to that, again, when we go back to talking about making some of the do your job, I didn't do my job one play and it cost us a first down, that, like there's different things that happened throughout that game where it shouldn't have came to the Dez caught it catch. But I mean, I was thinking he caught it. They're going to there was no thought in my mind thinking we weren't about to win that game. Like let's say, let's go down there. We're winning. You know what I mean? But when they made that rule, when they made that ruling, I was in shock. I was actually sick because I knew it was just going to be worse for me, because there were those moments where we could have made it so it didn't even have to come to that. But yeah, Dez caught it like you said. You throw it up, he catches it. He caught it. I always thought it was, a couple steps, ball controlled, that's a catch. But hey, I mean, it is what it is. Can't go back and change it now. But I do love the conversation. I love talking to people about it too. It's a pretty big thing. When I went to Washington to do a little signing, I think I got asked by like 50 people. I think that was a lot of people's favorite season for over there, at least.
I remember the images after that game of Tony leaving the stadium and his family, and there's just such a disappointment and a letdown. I mean, after any game, but after a playoff loss, your season is over. So how long does it take you to get back to just life after a game like that? Your season ends, it's controversial. What is the next few days like for you?
I mean, not good. Well, obviously, like you got to go in and do exit meetings, and but like a lot of the greatness about like those teams that I was around is like the OGs in our lives and in our locker room. They continuously like taught us that yes, relive it, learn your mistakes, relive it. So like we would relive it for a couple weeks, past that, and not no one would really go and enjoy their off season until we kind of came to terms with what happened, right? So and I love that about us, because they wanted the taste in your mouth coming back to be like, okay, like this won't happen again, like and get excited about how strong you're going to get in the off season and all the extra things you're going to do to become better. It got you excited because you didn't just go straight into vacation mode like most teams do, and we did that for a couple years with the older guys that we like. Jason Witten, incredible leader. Obviously, you see what he's doing today, but like incredible leader, and just kind of didn't let us fall out of football mode too early even after a playoff loss.
So there was that one game you brought up when we talked about Dez, where they were getting after each other on the sideline.
Yes.
In the same game. Was that the game where Dez ended up throwing a pass to him in the same game for a touchdown? I know that happened in some. You remember that?
I can't remember the details.
But regardless, so you have two of your leaders who are at odds. I'm sure.
Hotheads, though.
Both of them hotheads?
Both of them.
Okay.
Well, so adrenaline gets going.
Yeah. So is it just that happens at the workplace and it's no big deal? Fans and we all make too big of a deal of stuff like that? Does that happen all the time?
It happens more than, people think, especially with guys like me or Dez or Witt, or, like the guys that speak their mind and kind of, they don't hold back. That happens a bunch, and it happens worse in practice, right? But yeah, when it happens on the sideline, it's just emotions. It's always back to love after that. I mean, those guys didn't like not talk to each other or something like that for a couple. It was back to love right away. You know what I mean? So, and especially those two. Like, I mean, Witten's a man, right? So even if Dez was trying to be like all salty about it or something, Witten would go over there and grab him up and be like, man, come here. Like, what are you doing? Let's get back to going crazy, right? Yeah, but yeah, so not that big of a deal.
That's the other magical thing is you have all this external competition where you hate the other team and you got to go kill the other team, but there's tons of internal competition, right? Like that's another interesting thing is I want more snaps. I want more balls thrown my way. But you also have to put that aside so that you can band together. And I'm always amazed, too, at just how many different ways a football locker room can be segregated, like position group, side of the ball, all those things. Like, y'all are in all these little mini silos, and then they all have to come together. And so it's fun, like when you guys are done with your career and you're retired and we still know you guys, seeing who you're still connected to and how all those, bonds still tie you all together after going through literally these little mini wars.
Yeah. I mean, especially when it's like, I hang out with a lot of offensive line guys, right? So it's like, I hang out with, Trav and Zach and Ty and all those boys, Ron Leary. But, I like my defensive guys and my core guys, right? Like, I always knew I was going to be friends with them forever. But like, they're in practice and like throughout the whole week, it's literally two different teams inside of that building. Like we don't like each other. Like, I mean, I can remember times, for instance, there was a time where the first team was coming off and the second team was coming on, but that last play I got like bullied by two people, maybe like a tackle and a tight end or something, and I was pissed. And so like this is at the end of practice, and I'm pissed off, and everybody's like sees me screaming, I'm yelling, I'm like, no, I'm staying in, I'm going up. I was like, stay your asses in. So I called the first team out for offense, and so they all stayed in, and so like all the defense was walking off, and then Sean Lee notices what's going on, and he's like, what the? He straps his helmet up. He comes back out there, and then everybody starts strapping their helmet up and come back out there, and it was ones against ones the whole time. When we should have been, most of the time at the end of practice, guys just want to take a break, but they were like, man, Ty's pissed. Let's get going. Let's get it popping. So like that's the kind of like battles we've had. Like at times where it was like, in the moment, I really don't like you. You're on my team, and I really don't like you. Like, this is still a battle on Thursday, like tomorrow I'm going to come right back at you. But I love those guys, man. Like when you go to battle with somebody, like, and when you finally link up on Saturday night and Sunday, and you guys are like, man, like now we're together. Like we sharpened each other's steel all week. You know what I mean? Now, like, let's go to battle together. And like you're looking at them when they're out on the field, and then they come off to like get the ball back, and like they're talking to you, going back and forth. It's like there's nothing like it, man. Like football is one of the craziest games. It's like chess, there's a lot of pieces, and we all got to work together to checkmate, you know what I mean? But it's lovely. There's nothing like it.
I bet you had the same feeling I just had when he brought up Sean Lee in that regard. Like, that's exactly how I think of Sean Lee.
Humans.
Yeah.
The idea that he wants to go, so I'm putting my helmet back on.
That's him.
That's
him.
so
Absolutely. He was the first one, and then it rallied.
We loved him. Such a talented player, and
smart as hell.
just one of those guys who it just seemed like if he wasn't playing football, he was probably somewhere watching film, trying to get better at football.
Still is.
Okay.
He's not getting better at football, but he's very, very comfortable and happy right now.
Good.
He's got a little girl, but he still watches film and all that stuff.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned that offensive line, with Zach and Travis and Tyron. You played and practiced against three of the greatest linemen in Dallas Cowboys history. And obviously, everybody knows about Zach. Everybody knows about Tyron. I think people know less about Travis. He played for a shorter amount of time, and he missed some time with Guillain-Barré syndrome. And he's very special to us as he is to you. And so I'd like to talk about him just for a minute. I can remember when that at Oxnard, he was something was wrong. He didn't feel 100%. He didn't really know what it was, but we were hearing, he's not having a great camp, but he's okay. Like something, but he got beat in practice today, and we're like, what? That just doesn't happen. So something was off, and he goes and gets tested. He has Guillain-Barré syndrome, and I can remember several months later being in the Cowboys locker room and seeing him, and he was having trouble walking. He was walking with an extreme limp, and I was so worried for him. I was so sad for him, and he was getting better, but still I was like, wow, I didn't realize how bad it got. And then for that guy to not only reteach himself how to walk and so forth, but to come back and then make a Pro Bowl and then retire on his terms.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I don't think that guy gets talked about enough.
He doesn't. No. I mean, that's when those are the moments in football when you notice, like, that's when you really notice, like, man, I really do love this guy. This is really my brother. You know what I mean? Because, like, times like that are times that just set you back and, like, make you realize, like, that, man, everyone on this team, I love these guys. And, at that moment, it was emotional. It was emotional for all of us, especially me and our wives are really good friends as well. But, we took that, we took that pretty hard because, again, we were scared too. We didn't know, like, he's the guy that doesn't tell you much. He just battles it out, and like he did, coming back, he just was still in a lot of pain, battling it out, went to a Pro Bowl, just GOAT stuff, just, Travis Frederick, just man stuff, Wisconsin. But, yeah, man, like we prayed every night, man. And those were times where it was like, man, like this is this is a brother where we don't like, all we know is this thing is serious. Like this thing that he's got is serious, and like, we hope that his treatment works and it did, thank God. And yeah, man, it's always great to see him bring, like one of the guys that just brings a smile to your face right away. You give him a big old hug. He's still, big old Bear, Wisconsin boy. And yeah, man, it's always great to see him. Beautiful family. And yeah, I just love him, man. We did Aspen together last year, and it was a great time.
I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the exact phrasing, but Parcells has a line about once you think about retiring, you're retired.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I want to go to the end of your career, what led up to the decision and how you felt around that time and what it was like once you decided, all right, I'm done here.
Yeah. So again, around year 7, year 8, I was struggling to get to Sunday, and again, like, I'm just being honest with you guys, my guys, I was doing, like what Toradol, it's just a painkiller, and I was doing that before every game, and I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is obviously not good for my body. And, me and my wife had a lot of conversations. So I had a double hip surgery, going into year 9. And I was like, all right, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to try and play again. So I went as hard as I possibly could, in the gym and everything. And, I came back, ended up, making the team, playing that 9th year, but midway through, ankle problems, all the pains are coming back. Definitely couldn't recover by Sunday. Stopped taking any pain medicine, mid-season. I was like, I'm not doing this. It's just not worth it, for my interior body, it's not worth it. And so, just going through a lot of pain. So I was like, okay, I'm going to really think about this. I'm going to sit on this for a long time. But right now I'm, 90% retiring, after this season. And then it got lower and lower as the season, towards the end of the season, I'm like, okay, man, maybe I'm not going to retire, but my body was pulling a little bit together, a little bit better. And, but I also wasn't playing as much. So I think that was all in my mind. And so, I sat and prayed on it for a while, ended up getting ankle surgery, in the, right after season. And with that surgery, I was doing my rehab, but I guess wasn't doing it to the extent I should be. And I ended up getting a blood clot in my calf.
Oof.
Yeah. And then that moved up to 2 tiny little pulmonary embolisms in my chest. And that was pretty much me listening to my prayers and saying, all right, dude. At the end of the day, when I got that, I would have been on blood thinners anyway. So couldn't do training camp, couldn't start the first 3 or 4 games in the season. So I was like, this is it. Very happy with it. It wasn't like I was, itching. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it was going to be a grind if I went to try and do year 10. So, talk with my family, talk with my wife, talk with the Cowboys, and, yeah, they were like, yeah, we think it's a great decision,
Man,
I think it's a great decision. And
you're a warrior. You're a gladiator. I'm a football player.
You're talking to him, right?
Yeah, you both of you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
And your mentality is, all right, now I got to overcome a blood clot. Your mentality is, I'm going. What is that like for your wife? Because I imagine she's like, dude, you've done great. We're fine. Our family's good. Let's get you out healthy. But your mentality is, I want to go. So what is that dynamic like? And really for you, but really for all NFL players and their spouses.
It gets tough, but at the end of the day, it's like, if I wasn't where I was at mentally, my wife wouldn't have battled me on it, but she was battling me on it because she knew where I was at, mentally with my hips, still to this day, it's the hips are an issue, you know what I mean? And the injuries for me, they didn't bounce back. I didn't bounce back from a lot of them like I wanted to. And even though I spent all my off seasons doing rehab pretty much, so she knew where I was at, mentally, and obviously as a man, you don't give as much to your wife, as far as feeling feel sorry for me or whatever. So I wasn't giving her much, but she was in my ear about like, hey, like it's, like, let's think about retiring. Let's, come on, let's, think about this. And like, I didn't give her much back of what I was thinking in my own head, what I've told you guys. But, she was right. And she was battling it, I'm sure. And within herself of like, man, I really wish he would retire. And I hate talking to him about him because he probably gets, to an emotional state where he gets like, hey, I want to play. I've been doing this my whole life, but you got to take yourself outside of your body and look at yourself, and, that's, I had to come to the harsh reality. And she saw me through all, dude, we sat at the hospital and the doctor's like, hey, I'm going to give him, this is during COVID too. So she was barely allowed in the room. And the doctor goes to him and said, I'm going to give him this shot. If he survives tonight, he'll survive. And the next morning.
Damn, man.
Yeah. The next morning, she tells me that and she's like, just be done. And I was like, I'm done.
Like there was a chance you weren't even going to live?
Oh yeah. Because they broke up in my calf. And so like pulmonary embolisms, once they get up there, if they continue to connect and they clog that thing, they call it the Widowmaker.
That's scary, man. I didn't know it was to that extent.
Yeah, dude, it was honestly, thankfully, it was, taken care of perfectly. All of our docs, the docs of the Cowboys, like when I got the test from my calf, they're like, get to the hospital, boom, 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 when they had everything handled and it all worked out well. So, thank God that it all worked like that.
It's one of those things, when you're in it, it's super personal and you're thinking about yourself and your own situation, but you basically tripled the average NFL career. That's the thing that people don't realize. Most guys don't make it past 3 seasons. The vast majority of guys that play in the NFL don't make it past 3 seasons.
Yeah. And
you had an incredible long career, did really well. It was nicely compensated. You're part of this community. That's a huge win in life. Your Cowboy experience, your NFL experience is a huge win that the vast majority of people that are watching this would swap out with you in a heartbeat.
Right. Yeah. And dude, I'm proud of it. I made my family proud. The cities I played in, Bakersfield, Windsor, recently just got inducted into both of those Hall of Fame.
Let's go.
So,
let's go.
So, just the validation of just making all them proud and, making my family proud, providing a life for my wife and my daughters, like at a financial stability life. And then playing for, one team, the only team, the best team in the United States, my whole career. There's nothing like it, man. It was a huge blessing. Had a heck of a time, created great memories, great friends, great brothers and my teammates. And, and now I'm here. I'm part of this. I got business going outside of anything football, right? I'm in construction world now and all this crazy stuff. So, man, it's been lovely. Me and my brother are just going to keep this thing rolling, and now it's a whole new journey, and I'm enjoying the crap out of it.
Let's talk about this. Crawford Signature Spaces. Yes. What is it? What are you guys doing? And can any Cowboy fan hire you guys? Let's hear about the business.
So Crawford Signature Spaces, my brother was, he's been a landscaper, lawn care guy. He wanted to do something when we first got here. So him and my brother-in-law teamed up and they did lawn care. And then he got into more of landscaping and he got with a couple of builders and started doing their landscaping. And then he really got into some turf. He worked for a turf company alongside of his landscaping business and learned turf and learned it well. Went to, different things in Arizona to learn putting greens and all that. And he learned this thing inside and out. And he's done really well with his business. And he was like, Ty, I want to scale it up and I want you to be a part of it. And he just kind of was just like that. And I was like, man, dude, I'm so down. And so I jumped in the business with him. We expanded the fleet. We bought an office, bought some land out in Salina. And now we just do, some pretty high end, signature landscaping and, lawn care. We do a lot of sports courts, putting greens, like great metal edging, and everything. It just looks really, pristine with Crawford Signature Spaces. We really pay attention to the details, and and I'm not even talking about surface level details, under the ground details, the drainage, the rock that we're putting in, the base that we're putting underneath turf, just everything that, people try and get away from here. We pay really close attention to it, and just try and do our best job. And, we try and do like Cowboys work, you know what I mean? Like what I learned with the Cowboys, that's what I try and bring, to Crawford Signature Spaces. And yes, anybody can holler at us. We got a website, CrawfordSignatureSpaces.com, and then just our Instagram. It's kind of like our homepage right there. And then, obviously we got our numbers and stuff on there. So, yeah, I think we do great work, and we could do work for anybody. And yeah, I'll probably pop in for sure.
Let's do some details. That detail. Yes, let's go. Is that camera 2? Camera 2. Yeah. Okay. So explain the logo here. What's going on?
The pines, the 3 pines. So that is our own kind of signature thing. That's not necessarily part of Crawford Signature Spaces, but it's part of like us as brothers and like kind of like our family and our roots, right? So we have a real estate company called Roots Realty as well, but the roots in pines, are super interesting, and you guys can dig into the research of that, but. Just the trees alone, we love them. We're from Canada. We grew up around a lot of them. And when you see a forest of them, it's beautiful. And you see a forest with the fog and the pines going through. It's one of the most beautiful things, we got to see growing up, and just seeing, like, especially when you visit different places in Canada, like British Columbia.
I've been to Whistler, man.
Oh, so you've seen it.
I've seen it.
Yeah. So
my wife's like, we got to get to Banff.
Absolutely. Banff is a whole nother level. But, we always liked the fact that they grew in families, and, like it was a forest of pines, And so, we put the 3 pines up, and we put them close together, and we kind of made it, less traditional than how you see other pines and logos. They're kind of scrappy like us. But we give them to friends and family, you know what I mean? And when people are wearing the pines, they're part of the forest. And so that's why I brought 2 for you guys today.
I'm going to rock those joints, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Man, I don't know how we got so lucky to be friends with you, man. I'm truly grateful. I don't know, why the hell were you so nice to us in that locker room?
Well, guys, I don't think you guys have a lot of enemies, whereas a lot of those guys did. But you guys, man, just great people, and I always appreciate y'all's friendship, and just the men you guys are with your guys' families and everything, and also go-getters, like we've talked a lot about that in these last couple of years, and we kind of share that same mindset of just going and getting it, right? So yeah, I mean, I appreciate y'all, love y'all for sure, and keep going.
We love you too, man. I just remember, like, we're in the Cowboys locker room, and it could be a very intimidating place. And, we had 2 really close friends, and Tyrone and Travis, and they're 2 of the most intimidating cats. If you just saw them out in the street, they're always just so nice to us. I'm like, we don't deserve this.
Do you remember Ben's locker room voice? Excuse me, Mr. Crawford?
Travis would be like, dude, why don't you talk like we just talk on the phone? I'm like, what do you mean? I talk the same. And then I'm at his locker going, Travis?
Yeah.
It's the sacred space, the locker room.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. It's different, especially like, coming in and like you see a couple of lockers are completely surrounded, and then, like it's like a lot of the guys are looking there like, I'm sitting there with a bunch of people surrounding me, and I don't want to talk to anybody. And then I see one of y'all's face, and I'm like, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so good times.
Hey, thank you for coming to Haymaker.
Yeah. Oh, are you kidding me, man? Thank you guys for having me. This is a beautiful, beautiful facility.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Let's go. Rollertown right down the street.
Yes, Rollertown down the street. Yes.
All right. All right, he's right. Let's go lift weights.
Yeah, let's go lift some weights.
Will you spot me?
I got you, dude. Listen, we gotta listen so I told you I wrote this book, right? It's the work blueprint. And like, all these people are talking about, you got to do all these extravagant workouts, man. Let's get under there. Let's get into the bar, and we put on 10 pounds every week. Just keep.
You might have to lift that.
No,
10 whole pounds.
Dude, you got to increase. We got to strain a little bit. Marinelli said you got to strain.
I picture him like lifting you, the weight bench, and underneath the whole thing while you're lifting weights.
I'm doing curls on the bench.
He's curling you.
All right, let's get the hell out of here.
Let's go.
Hey, thank you guys.
Dude, thank you.